Alright y'all, let's do some more research here into the medical cannabis, which is the Cytomon Summit Pharma, which is the Australia's first plant-based compounding pharmacy. In other words, it's the start of a little apothecary, and we need to start using that word again and erecting apothecaries, because the chemist has taken over, because organic portals rule the world, right? And they love their synthetics because they're synthetic. They are artificial intelligence. Anyway, we'll talk about that another day. So this is like a really strong oil. This is the most expensive one, and I was wondering why. Because the CBD oil is actually much cheaper. It's only 200, and the THC strongest one, stop it, is actually 250. So I don't know why this is so much. Just because it's got extra CBD, because the THC is as strong as the strongest THC blend, sorry, THC only oil. So I don't know why, just because they've added more CBD, they've made it so much more expensive. Plus there's this, which I wanted to just research, MCT oil, because I've read about coconut oil and stuff a little bit before, but I've forgotten because it was so many years ago. So it's saying that it's not the exact same thing as coconut oil. It looks like it's just highly refined, but they take it from coconut oil. Is that correct? Well, we're going to have a look into it, but that's what it looks like. Both coconut oil and MCT are sources of medium chain triglycerides, which have interesting effects on the body. MCT is just a more concentrated and refined version of MCTs as compared to coconut oil. That almost doesn't make sense. More refined version of MCTs, medium chain triglycerides, as compared to coconut oil. Shouldn't it say it's a more refined version of coconut oil? Do you know what I mean? That's why I'm confused. Because you don't just... Where did they take the MCTs from that they refined? That's what I'm trying to find out. Also, it couldn't be from palm oil as well. So it's either going to be from coconut oil or palm oil. I wonder if they ever put them together. So you take the triglycerides. Isn't that got some sort of sugar nature? Or it's just a lipid? Right, it's only lipids. God, I've got to get back into my health research. I've forgotten so much of this. I thought that had something to do with sugars on it as well. Anyway, leaving behind the medium chain fats. Right. So it strips out the long chain things, the big polysaccharide, not polysaccharide, but polyfats, or polytriglycerides, basically. The medium ones are the ones that they are extracting and want. Interesting. So caproic acid with 6 carbon chain links, caprylic, I mean I've heard of that one before, and lauric acid. Lauric acid I know is like antibacterial or antimicrobial. With 8 carbon chain links, 10 carbon and 12 carbon chain links. Alright, so lauric acid is the bigger one. Interesting. Both coconut oil and MCT oil are sources of medium chain. However, in MCT products, lauric acid is sometimes removed because it acts similar to longer chain fatty acids. Please explain. Similarly, caproic acid is often removed because it is more likely to cause digestive upset. Based on latest research, yeah, that's a good point. We don't know shit. We don't know fuck all about this world. There are good reasons for so much interest in supplementing MCTs due to the structure. Oh, we can use them as a fuel source. Well, it all breaks down into ATP, doesn't it? All fat, all sugar, and all protein. Process is ketosis, only accessible by eating, usually only accessible by eating a low carbohydrate diet or fasting. And you know what? When you take these oils for the first, you know, until you have the munchies and eat, you know, even when the munchies are coming on, for the first few hours, I was going to say, of any stone, any cannabis use, you're actually fasting. Your body is going into that type of cleaning and fasting mode anyway. You're being pulled inwards, silly. Anyway. Elephant in the room. Coconut oil, such a fun heart disease. Oh, I don't really care about that. I know that. So yeah, that's interesting. I don't know why it's so expensive. Fuck, I'm not getting that one. There was another thing here I wanted to research as well. Fuck, stop popping up. Where was it? If they sell gummies, I'm not going to get them because they're gummies and they'll gum up my body. But I can't believe how expensive they are. Just for some lollies. They started making them in Uruguay at the grow shop before I left too. So you see there that the high strength THC oil there is a lot less just because it's missing the CBD. However, just the standalone CBD here, which is very high, 200 milligram per milliliter, is only 300. So 35 less. Oh, okay, so CBD oil is just more expensive. That's interesting. CBD is more expensive than the THC. Well, I'm happy with that because THC is the stuff I want. CBD is good, it's got some stuff, but, and you know, it's interesting that these are the only two things people talk about. There's 200 or like 300 phyto nutrients in cannabis. There's hundreds. CBG, CBN, I know those other two really well. There's a lot, but... And you know, the doctor that... Oh, this is what I wanted to have a look at too. The doctor that approved my script, which is... all you have to do is call on the phone. You don't have to present anything. I just said, yeah, I've been on SSRIs, which I never have. You know, which are all antidepressants, anti-anxiety medicines, because I'm not an idiot. I don't get on synthetic things because I'm not a drug addict. Drug addicts are people who use drugs. I use plants. They're not in a laboratory. Fuck, people are dumb. Anyway, so let's have a look at the CBD isolate. Form of cannabidiol. Unlike full spectrum CBD products, CBD isolate does not contain any THC. Also, the full spectrums do contain some THC. Interesting. Which is the... This is so stupid, man. People who don't want to... This is, remember, from the government. This is meant to be the people who are, you know, informing the world. Right? Organisations like this. And look how stupid they are. Let's read it. And me, Shaman Walking Crystal, who just is an independent researcher who doesn't have government funding, by the way. Do you not understand why I made the Raise Benjamin campaign? Do you get it now? Fucking dumb fucks. Imagine what I could do with government funding. Anyway, so let's read this. People who don't want to ingest THC, tetrahydrocannabinol oil, which is the active ingredient in cannabis. That's so stupidly written. What do you mean active ingredient? Well, all the other ingredients, CBD is not active. They meant to probably write psychoactive, but even that's stupid, because CBD is psychoactive. It just proves that nobody understands psychedelics and psychedelic compounds, because they're spiritless humans. They're never going to understand it. They're never going to come around. It's never going to change. Never. It's not possible, because they're hylics. A hylic is a physically bound being. They're spiritless humans. That's why I go on about this, because it's such a huge, overarching thing in this world, theme. It reaches everywhere. They touch everything stupidly, you know. It's such an overarching theme to know about organic portal gnosis. So it's a crystalline, solid or powder, because I've never had this. You know what you would want to put this with? Cocaine. You would want this with cocaine because it's powdered form. And I once had, and I'm talking the leaf, not extracted drug version. I mean coca leaf. Because once I had from New South Wales down the coast, CBD and coca leaf, so the full leaf tincture. And that was the most immune enhancing and immediate thing that I've ever had. The energy in that little tincture bottle, I'll never forget. It was like the biggest antioxidant, or the most powerful natural antioxidant, cloves, but times 10. Just, you know what I mean? So that's coca leaf and CBD in a tincture. That was just the business. I've mentioned that on the channel before. That was the best. I'm into really good products, as you can see. Because if we're going to make... Because my tincture business, remember, that I had in Uruguay, I healed a lot of people with ordinary herbs. I'm talking ordinary herbs. Like, I would go get a canela stick, some cinnamon, a type of cinnamon. I'd get the canela, and that was so cheap that, I mean, it was 99% profit to work with it. It was all profit. All I had to do was soak it in alcohol, do all my little things, and package it. I'm not going to give you all my trade secrets, because I still got to reproduce this business here in Australia, so it's coming. And I won't stop at 25 tinctures, we're just going to keep adding. I'm going for 100. I'm going to have the biggest tincture business in Australia. Maybe not, you know, monetarily, but I mean with the amount of herbs that I'll use. Yeah, so really what you want to do is put this with coca. Just if anybody is out there who has any clue about medicine. Well, these are the best in the world, CBD and coca leaf together. You're not getting better. Which may influence several bodily functions including appetite, memory, mood, pain perception, inflammation. Yeah, it's interesting that how much CBD is a painkiller or analgesic. Oh, here we go. Here's a nice little list. Immunomodulating, that's what I said. I just finished talking about that tincture. I said it's the #1 immuno thing that I've had. I could feel it energetically working. It was amazing. That was CBD and coca leaf tincture. So this is anti-tumorigenic, anti-inflammatory, anti-emetic, which is also anti-convulsive and stuff. Oh, it says that down there. Neuroprotective. Yeah, it's interesting. Look at, here it is, even the idiots know. Because someone commented on my channel the other day, cannabis shrinks your brain There's absolutely the opposite evidence of that. Cannabis creates neurogenesis. That means genesis, creation, not shrinking, you fucking idiots. Here it is, even the government knows it. You know, the people with the laboratories and the research. So, yeah, I don't want to see those comments on my channel because I'll block you for being dumb and annoying. It recovers and regenerates nervous system tissue. Neuroprotective neurogenesis. You create your brain with cannabis. Read it and weep. That's actually going to be in my my book, my ebook on cannabis. Reducing or preventing anxiety, and I mean, let's not go into that. I do want to, but that's a big talk on its own. Because what is anxiety, my friend? Do you even know? Reducing or preventing seizures. See, in my opinion, it's got a lot to do with the programming and the dark side, so it goes very spiritually deep for me to talk about anxiety, so it's beyond the scope of this video. I have made a video on the best anxiety cure. I can't remember what I said, but I made that video years ago. Reducing or preventing seizures, and obviously analgesic. So there you go. Cannabis does not shrink the brain, it actually enhances it. You dumb fuck. You're brainwashed. At this point you need to admit you're brainwashed, because where did you get the information from? I've seen no studies. I see studies that show the opposite. Neurogenesis. And that's for THC as well, by the way, not just CBD. And who knows actually what I can't remember what the actual assay, the assayable breakdown of the studies were, if it was full spectrum, which means they tested THC, CBD, and possibly other compounds if it was full spectrum oil in these studies. I can't remember. But anyway, they both do it, both the main compounds. Because I didn't even know that CBD was associated with neurogenesis. I thought it was just THC. So I just learned something then as well. Such as the 5-HTP serotonin receptor. Alright, here we go. Because now we're getting into the area of, you know, what mushrooms and DMT hit on the serotonin receptor. Remember the pathway for the highest burn spiritual fuel, called the spiritual molecule, DMT, yeah, the spirit molecule, the highest burn fuel, that's why you go up so high on it. DMT, remember there's a process of creation which goes, if I can remember it, I think it's 5-HTP, serotonin, bufotenin, and then melatonin, and then dimethyltryptamine, DMT. So if you got 5-HTP, which by the way is everywhere, not just St. John's wort, it's probably in like half the tree barks in the world. It's out there, trust me, it's very much out there. Tryptophan, right, 5-HTP, what we're looking at. Look at the name of it. Anyway, also that it's a hydroxy is interesting. Actually, I want to have a look at that. While I'm here, I'm just going to have a look at the hydroxy. Yeah, one oxygen atom and bonded with a hydrogen. That's what I thought. Yeah, it's alcohols and esters I was thinking about. Anyway, that was just for me, my thinking. Serotonin is a chemical that affects levels of depression, anxiety, and sleeplessness. There's anxiety again. Remember, I'm talking about spiritual stuff to do with that word. And we just talked about the breakdown from 5-HTP through serotonin, bufotenin, melatonin, the sleep molecule, right? and DMT. This may help explain, and I mean, when you have, say, an ayahuasca, you know, the ayahuasca, the long trip DMT exposure, the anxiety is off you so much, it's amazing. You you can't not notice it. Anyway, it's called the spirit molecule, just to reiterate. Anyway, hopefully that's not lost on you, on the deaf ears out there. So many deaf people in this world. Hey, they can't even, like, the cognitive dissonance on most people, it's just shocking. I can't take in this new information because it's, you know, it's so the opposite of what they've been programmed with. Alright, let's see. Anxiety, it likely works by changing the way brain responds to the chemical serotonin. See, they don't know, they don't have a clue. It likely works. This is medical news today. I mean, and you people don't buy my ebooks. It's laughable. It's so funny. You guys are dumb as fuck. Most of you on my channel I know are haters. We can tell by the likes. But thanks for your stalking, because you're actually creating my channel by stalking me. It's fantastic. Alright, arthritis, chronic back pain, neuropathic pain, epilepsy. Yeah, that's interesting. I gotta admit, when it comes to CBD and epilepsy, I don't know what's going on. I haven't meditated on it once. I almost did one time, but I remember I was busy. I had to go do something. I was going to sit there and think about how could this possibly work. So one day I will find out how this works, epilepsy and the whole cannabis thing. Because I've got some ideas, but I need to sit there and think about it. And I think I have some missing research as well. See, they don't know. They don't say nothing. They just say it treats it, yeah, because it does. Yeah, antispasmodic. See, that might be a lead way into realizing how it works. The anti-seizure effect, maybe the antispasmodic stuff. Like, what I would do is I would check with those other almost parallel symptoms, right? And what is, you know, affecting them. So what specifically is it? CBG, CBN, CBD, THC, one of the other hundreds of compounds in cannabis, the best oil in the world that Jesus called balm of the kings, not balm of the idiots. He said balm of the kings. Yeah, so what I'd do is I would check, like, because I'm not sure, I've forgotten. I mean, I know CBD obviously is anti-spasmodic and stuff because it's in here, and THC. But it's not as simple as that, because they're always bound to other molecules, and there's more stuff to think about, like the brain pathways. I'm not sure of it all. But neither are they, and they've got all the laboratories and all the scientists, and they still don't know. So again, pathetic. It's fucking a joke out here. It's a fucking clown world with clowns in charge. So that's interesting. They say all that list there as well. I mean, that's regular stuff that you get in like any sickness and disease. So in other words, you can use this anytime. Yeah, this interaction with dietary supplements, Lipitor and others, and atorvastatin, whatever, cholesterol drugs, all sorts of other drugs I know about. So, natural plants always have these interactions with these drugs because they're synthetic. It's not, see, this is how dumb people are. They're like, I'm on this synthetic pharmaceutical, so I'm not able to take this plant CBD because it will interact with my drug. Actually, what they should be doing is getting off the pharmaceutical and onto the plant. Backward clown world. And then, my whole point is you're getting the interactions because CBD and all these things in cannabis are symbiotic. You have something called an endocannabinoid system. It's a high-level system. It's like hormones are a high-level system. People don't know this stuff at all. This is like so undervalued in the world. It's amazing. You got all these people in pain and all this stuff, and they don't have a fucking clue. They just get on pharmaceuticals and make it worse, and don't address the problem. Yeah, so that's funny. I was just thinking about the Lipitor and lipids and lipid interaction, because these oils are thinning. They're not. It is a very delicate oil, and so when you get, it's like a big fat person walking into the room. It's gonna interact. Do you understand? It's the elephant in the room. Do you understand? That's what it's like when, the pharmaceutical in your body interacts with the CBD and all that, and all the plant oils, not just cannabis. It could be moringa, could be whatever, could be any herb. It's because it's the piece of shit in the room, and especially in this case, CBD realizes the off vibration because it's a rancid isotope. It is not fractally connected, meaning it's rancid. If it's not fractally connected, it's rancid. It's a surface virus in itself. Do you understand? If it's not fractal, it's rancid, and it's an isotope automatically. Yes, it is. They change. I don't even need a laboratory. I can guess because that's how life works. There's an alchemical ocean out here. You've got to understand how elements change, right? When they pass electrons and all this, right? They change their valence shell, etc. They actually can spontaneously turn into another element. It's called reality. It's metamorphic. Sorry, I find this shit so funny because people are so fucking stupid, man. Out here calling cannabis a drug. My parents are that dumb. They're like, oh, drugs. I'm like, no, plant. Alright, well that's interesting. That was an interesting little article. Nothing I didn't really know except for that one point. Trying to find out more about this as an actual extract. So here we go. Thought it was over because the endless ads. So most CBD products sold in US. So this is from a US article. I had no idea where Medical News Today was from. So most CBD products sold in US are derived from low THC hemp varieties of cannabis. In other words, the worst place that you could get it. I don't even want to go into it, but basically you have sativa, indica, well, I'll say it in order. You have indica, which epitomizes what cannabis is. It is the most congealed, compressed, conglomerated oil. Sativas are more simple, and then you have rudalis, which is like the type of shit they grow in Afghanistan in the valleys. It's shitweed. It's almost hemp. Remember, hemp is the cousin. So, actually what you have here, if you're making CBD extract from hemp varieties, it's like getting it from the worst end. You're meant to go to the indica. If you can manage to extract and separate things in indica oils, well fucking done. You got the best product in the world now. Good for you. I'll buy it. But what they're doing is going to hemp because it's the mass-produced consciousness, you see, when the soulless production line consciousness, you know what I mean? They're like, ooh, hemp, ooh, it's got a lot, yeah, it's high in CBD. Oh, let's just extract the CBD from the hemp because it's more budgetary efficient, you know, it's better on the budget. But it does not create the best product. That's the point. Don't we want the best, or are we just creating like a shit world? Because that's what we seem to have going on here, idiocracy. Creating just shit for money. Which is not what I did with my tinctures at first. You know, at first I used 5 times distilled, 3 times filtered vodka. It was madness. It would extract so well. And then, you know, I tried to experiment with Kaprinsky. I'll never forget Kaprinsky because it was just so much cheaper and it was a grain alcohol vodka. And I thought, well, let's just see what this does. You know, I want to experiment with it. And I ended up, because it was so cheap, making a lot more money. But I did find out, I'm correct, that, you know, that meant it was a shitter product. And you know what? Suddenly, in that, because I had this business for a couple of years, in that second year, from what I remember, there was less people coming back with feedback of being healed. Like, I remember in the first year was when the moringa tincture I made made that girl's anal warts drop off. That's HPV, human papillomavirus. It's just like, you know, barely curable. It's, you know, some people say it stays in your blood. I remember this German girl I was talking to, her doctor was talking about it, and then other people actually say, she was saying it doesn't, her doctor said it doesn't stay in the blood, you can get rid of it. And then in Australia, as far as I remember, people I spoke to were saying that it does always stay with you. So anyway, you know, for her warts to fall off, you got to think about that. The moringa tincture completely cut the supply off, right? It completely altered it. So, yeah. Anyway, so all I was saying was that, you know, if we get CBD from hemp instead of the highest grade, freshest indica strains, you're doing that mass production, soulless production, crappy product design approach, and like, this is not the area for that. You know what I mean? It's really nothing really is, right? Because why would you want to create more crap? It's like how we have what's it called, the inferior product design, planned obsolescence, where they, you know, make your phone to break quicker or whatever, that type of shit. Anyway. Any substance that comes from a cannabis plant and contains CBD is technically a CBD extract. In most cases, however, CBD extract is synonymous with CBD oil. It's possible to add the oil to various products, including lotions, cream, blah, blah, blah. Alright, hold on 1 second. CBD is a compound that comes from the cannabis plant. Growers extracted from plant flowers or leaves. Again, if you're going to take it from the leaf, it's going to be different from what's in the flower. So this is the problem. We don't have a clue when we're buying the product. The massive product, the massive production behind it. You know what I mean? I find that a real issue for me anyway. Because not all products are the same, and a product is a culmination. You're meant to be trying to make it the best you can. You know what I mean? But again, organic portals do it the other way. It's just for money because... And why is that? It's because they're only here, you know, for this little while until they get reincarnated. They don't care. They're just the ego life. So they don't care. They don't give a fuck. And that is the mass consciousness on Earth. It's crazy. And that is because they are pawns for the evil god. That doesn't care more. The god of, you know, the darkness entity does not care about anything more than what it takes to inure you. So if you want to get more stuff, you don't even have to use law of attraction. You can just whinge. I've talked to the AI of this reality many times now. Oh, I'm going to kill myself then. And then, oh, all of a sudden, I get the shit that I asked for. So I'm not even law of attracting, you see what I mean? Anyway. Which makes you realize that there is this entity. When system functions can be overridden. And who made the program to begin with, right? It's like when I make a program and say you're in the program as an NPC, you don't know who I am because you didn't see me type the code. Yeah, definitely. This is my problem with it. So investigation into products has proven that they don't all contain the same amount of CBD, or, as it says here, do not contain the amount of CBD that the manufacturers claim. This makes it difficult to determine adequate dosage, which may reduce the likelihood of experiencing any benefits. Yeah, like, well, that's what I'm trying to say. If you take hemp, rudalis, or even sativa oils of any sort, it's less, it's worse, it's not as good as indica. Then there's, if you take it from the flower, no matter what plant, if it's indica, if it's sativa, rudalis, or hemp, if you take it from the flower or the leaf, it's going to be different. This is why I wanted to research into this, and I think it's important because I've had good products, and there's a big difference in between something that I waste my money on and doesn't get me over the threshold that I need, whatever that threshold is, whether it's a mental meditation one or some health threshold, molecular threshold or something. Yeah, in other words, you're wasting your energy or your money. Treating seizures, again, they don't say shit about how it works. Well, let's have a look. We don't need to know about all that other stuff. This is the stuff I'm interested in, the stuff we don't know. Let's see what they say. Legislations. Social right, it doesn't say shit. Oh, here we go, hold on. That's incorrect as well. THC, which causes the high. CBD definitely causes the high. It's immunomodulatory. So that takes you up in energy. I don't even know what they're fucking talking about. The high. Please explain. It's like when people use the word crazy. It's a filler word because they don't understand. What is the high, my friend? What is the hallucination? About 30% of people with epilepsy have difficulty controlling their symptoms. Okay. Some evidence may help control seizures. Yeah, look, scientists have struggled to expand on this. The research of, why CBD does anything to do with seizures. And you know what? Something just popped in my head that I finally had a good fucking idea of what's going on here. You know when you... You know when you get excess static in the system, any system, but obviously I'm talking about the human body and the nervous system, right? So when you get static in the system, what is that? I'll give you 10 seconds because I use this phrase a lot. What is the static? Surface virus. Cross current. All that stuff I always talk about. So what's happening, remember, when you take any psychedelic is you're going within, right? You're going inward, onward and upward, right? Dimensionally. Because reality is created down dimensionally, right? From higher light to lower, to frozen architecture or physical matter, right? So what we have here is when we're having someone on a seizure, I'm positive that there is basically no flow from underneath. And so the schism is created by, you might think of it as like when I'm surfing in the ocean and say there's two crosswinds, you have a northeast and a southeast blowing, and then the surf gets choppy. So on the molecular cascade, in the neuronal fitting, right, each, what's it called, dendrite, and the firing molecules are then acting in a surface virus fashion. I call it a virus because it's corruption. It's like a corruption of the file, corruption of the molecular cascade. Do you see where I'm going with this? So actually I might have just made a bit of an inroad into how this works. I'm going to expand on that, and remember I'm writing a book on cannabis, an ebook, which is going to take a while because I need to put all this information in, and all I've got there is, like 30 pages of the basic stuff. But, how it controls seizures is not basic. Like, I just had to explain really deep, and that's only part of the explanation, It's only first side of how it's working. Anyway, I think that's something there, what I said, to do with seizures. Because, you can have mini seizures and stuff when you're not an epileptic person. That's what made me think of this, And these seizures can be so small that unless you are focused on the word and understanding of seizure, you'd just shake it off, you know what I mean? You wouldn't even think of it as a seizure. A seizure doesn't have to be where like one time a friend of mine was eating and he just collapsed at KFC when we were younger. It doesn't have to be like a violent thing to be a seizure. Obviously there's a spectrum. I don't know what this thing is about the less than 0.3% THC. I'd absolutely, if I was in some policy position, change that. Again, you want stuff strong. Then you can take less. The less you can take, the less you're affected, the less, leftover rubbish in your system, stuff like that. But there's also something too high dosing, don't get me wrong. Anyway. Lennox-Gastaut syndrome and Dravet syndrome. Actually never heard of them. So they have forms of... So look at this, there's syndromes. I had no idea about this. So there's syndromes, 2 different forms of epilepsy. So... Actually, I'd like to have a look. I don't know if we're going to run out of space here. Let's have a quick look. Because I'd probably need to type what's the difference. Let's have a real quick look. Got severe form, yeah. People who are, you know what I was just talking about with the explanation of neuronal activity in epilepsy. That was very broad, and people who are born with this, I mean, we need to do further research, obviously, but I'd like to know if they're organic portals. I know it might sound silly at first, but I don't think it's silly at all. Because it would go with what I said. Because that would be... Well, it would make sense if you're a spiritless human, no inner flow, just surface virus from the beginning, that you could seizure from an early age. Whereas I think, as you get older and you accrete positive charge, especially if you're unhealthy, all fat is held in your body because of the positive charge holding it. Positive charge congeals, like it's sticky, static. It's like when you rub your feet on the carpet and you can put a balloon on your arm. So that's why the fat's held in your body via the positive charge, because it's like a static holding it. Which is different to anionization and alignment of molecules. Fuck, don't get me started. Their report notes the importance of the drug's uniform strength and consistent delivery. Yeah, I'll agree there. You know what's funny about this? In this whole article, we still haven't learned anything remotely to do with how, it works. They haven't even mentioned molecular anything. You know what I mean? So I'm just reading here a programming. They're saying this is how it is. We're not going to tell you anything about it, but this is how this is. And on such a surface level that there's absolutely no actual information involved. This is amazing. I mean, this looks like a prominent website, you know what I mean? So again, it's just these health websites doing the let's pump out the information and we just put it on repeat. That's why every video I make, I try and put something novel in it. Because all these organic portals are just habitual. That's all it is. That's all their lives are mentally. There is no novelty. Because the novelty comes from within. Don't forget, I once said, depression has affinity with novelty. What happens when you're depressed? You go within too, don't you? Aha. So, I find this stupid. There's actually nothing to do with how it works. It just says it may not be this, it might do that. We don't know this, we don't know that. And yet we're going to tell you what to do. We're going to regulate your percentages. We're going to make your shitty products. Fuck this world, man. Fuck it to death. Suicidal ideation. Alright, let's have a look. This alright, I'm glad I didn't switch off the video. Here we go. There may be a link between... This is going to be a real rich shit. There may be a link between CBD use and suicidal ideation in some cases. What did I just say? I said depression has affinity with novelty. Oh, so funny. There may be a link between CBD use and suicidal ideation. I'm guessing they mean thoughts of suicide. Notes of correlation between the two, but emphasizes that CBD may not be I'm running out of space. May not be responsible for this outcome. Look. It might not even be included in the outcome. They don't have a clue. Not even the slightest clue. Right. Do I? Yeah, I do. That's why I'm laughing. So these are fantastic notes actually from my book. I have to put a suicidal ideation section in there and explain it. I'm going to make this book cost so much money, the book on cannabis, because you know they're all going to steal my ideas and research on it. If you don't think that's happening, how come people started using, you know, our language from our channel? Wait until people start using the word surface virus, because I'm literally... Well, actually, I heard... Do you know who... I was going to say I'm the only one who's ever said it, but I heard Riser from Goldring, Game of Enlightenment and Abundance once say it. He was talking about something, he said, it has created a surface virus. I was like, whoa! Someone else said it! And that's where I've actually... I took his words when I say it's a cross-current against forward consciousness. He said that too. So actually, I didn't take the idea of surface virus from him, but I took that second line because he's expanded on it. So I know I'm not the only one seeing it, at least. But wait until everybody starts using that, you'll know. Nobody watches his series at all anymore, because it was all to do with 2012 and stuff. Right, so why do you get suicidal ideation? I'm gonna leave it like this because you're gonna have to buy my book. Novelty and depression. What happens when you're depressed? You're going within, have an affinity. See you later.